The program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to a hot and steamy South Africa for this sunset safari. Big welcome to Mountain View, Princess Anne, oh dear, Glenwood and White Oaks Elementary Schools, and great to have you all on board. So for the next 45 minutes, this is your very own private safari. So please ask me questions. I'd love to hear from you. Of course, we've got Tayla out on foot. We've got FW out in the other car. No, FW's gone to look for some lions. I'm busy heading towards the east of our traverse area to try look for a leopard. Now, we can hear Quah in the distance there, and I'm trying to see what it is. But this is Safari Live.
You are live.
Okay, let's get going. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have my good friend Vutomi on camera with me, and we're in search of all the wonderful creatures. As I was saying, Effia is looking for lions. I'm going to go head down towards the east of our traverse area, which is about 7 or 8 kilometers that way, where we found a young male leopard this morning. I'm hoping we're going to be able to find him again this afternoon. But of course, being live, we can never plan or script what's going to happen next. So that is the wonderful thing. Hopefully we find you all the animals. Remember to send me questions, and lots of them, please. We'd love to hear from you. And you don't only have to ask questions about lions and leopards. You can ask about trees, bugs, birds, the weather even. We'll be happy to oblige. What is that, Fiem? On top of that fallen marula, is that a weird branch or is that a bird of prey? It's a weird branch. It is a bird-like branch. We get also lion-like branches and leopard-like stumps and leopard and crocodile-like branches as well. Yes, Vutomi is correct. Don't think we're going to see any crocodiles at the moment. We've just come out of a very big drought. I think they're all that side of the world where there's a bit more water. Now, this is always a good area when we pass through here to look for a female leopard called Thandi, who's got a baby at the moment, but we haven't seen her for quite some time. Apparently she's been deep in the north, but we're going to keep on adventuring down to the east while we do that. Let's go see what Tayla's up to on foot.
Good afternoon and welcome. Well, we're out here walking around in the wilderness, and I hope you're ready to have a look at the smaller creatures that I have to show you. Now, my name is Tayla McCurdy, and on camera with me this afternoon we've got Zander. I haven't said that name in such a long time because we call him Eggsy here. And then of course we've got the almighty protector Herbert, who's making sure that we stay safe and sound. Now, it's very hot out here, as I'm sure everybody else has mentioned. But look at this massive tree that's been pushed down by the elephants. You'll probably see Herbert at the back as he is tipping over bits of bark to look for scorpions and all sorts of wonderful things. Now, the elephants have pushed this tree over many years ago, and they would have pushed it over to try and get to the tops of the leaves that their trunks could not reach, and also they like to feed on the roots of the trees. Now, I've got something to show you, but it means we've got to go over here to a marula tree that is still alive. Let's take a little stroll this way. And you can see that there are lots and lots of marula trees around here. Hello, Jesus. You were wondering what the temperature is and how hot it is? It's hot, hot, hot. It's about 95 Fahrenheit. So every now and then you'll see all the presenters with a nice shiny face. It's not makeup. It's just the sweat because it is so hot. Now, have a look here at the lovely bark on this beautiful big tree. And if you go all the way up, you should see the lovely leaves. Now, like I said, this tree is still alive. But when this marula tree starts to get its fruit, which looks like this, but this fruit is still a young one, and while it's not going to taste very nice, it's a little bit too early in the year for us to eat, but they get quite big. They get to about that size, and once they drop on the ground, they go nice and yellow after a few days, and they become ripe, and you can eat them. They're really delicious. But the elephants absolutely love the fruit of this tree. So what they will do, sometimes they'll come up to it when it's found a female tree, because it's only the girl trees that have the fruit. The boy trees, they don't make any fruit. And it'll put its trunk up on the tree and push with its head, and you won't believe it, the whole tree shakes and a shower of all these fruits fall to the ground, and they will eat them. But we're going to open one up now. Let's see if I can get a knife out. Now, remember, if you are handling a knife, you must make sure that your mom or dad are always there to help you, because you don't want to cut yourself. But luckily, I'm a big enough girl now that I can use a knife all on my own. Let's see if this will open it. Oh, it's so tough. It's so tough. You see, it's so hard. Now it's got a big stone in the middle. Oh. Let's try and slice some of the flesh away. You can see. So there isn't much flesh on this fruit. So what you have to do is when it gets a little bit bigger and when it gets ripe, and that's normally in about February or March, you take it, you go, and you bite it with your teeth, and you twist it, and then you pull the top piece off. Then you use both fingers. Let's put the knife away though. No, it's not. Very difficult to put that back in. Then you take both fingers and you squeeze the pip out, and then you suck on it, and what it does is that all the juices and all the pulp gets into your mouth, and it's sweet, it's a little bit sour, it's so tasty, and it's very high in vitamin C and other nutrients. So maybe if you're walking around and you feel, oh, I'm hot, I'm a little bit tired today, and you feel like you haven't got any energy, it's good to carry a couple of ripe marula fruits with you and just pop them in your mouth and suck on them, and you'll be good to go. So like I said, it's not just the elephants that like this fruit. I like it, the baboons like it, the warthogs like it. Everything will eat the fruit of the marula tree. So it's a race. So you'll see in February and March, if you're still watching, I'll be running around the open areas, picking up the fruits, putting it in bags and taking it back home to keep, so that I have my own stash so that I can munch on them. They're really, really quite delicious. Now, Deshaun, you are wondering what kind of elephants can push these trees down. So we have got a species of elephant called the African elephant. So it's much bigger than the Asian elephant, and it occurs all over Africa. Now, this big tree was probably pushed down by an elephant bull, so a boy elephant, and they can get really, 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 really big. So imagine, what we'll try and actually do is we'll actually try and find a part of a tree that an elephant has rubbed, and I'll stand next to it so we can show you how tall an elephant gets. But imagine, it has to be a massive animal to be able to push down a big tree like this. Maybe it wasn't just one elephant, maybe it was a few elephants that pushed down this tree, and they would have eaten all the leaves and all the branches and the fruit. Now, Nicholas, you are wondering, I used the word pulp, and you're wondering what pulp is. So pulp is, you know, sometimes when your mom gives you orange juice in a glass, and you've got all the nice, clear, thin orange juice at the top, and you get to the bottom, and you have bits of orange juice with actual pieces of orange. That is the pulp. So it's liquidy, but it also has a little bit of pieces of fruit in it as well. So that's what I mean when I say the pulp. But maybe one day, if you ever get to come to Africa, and you you go on a safari, you have to ask your guide to show you a marula tree, and if you're lucky enough in the right time of the year, you've got to be able to try and taste one as well. They are so delicious. It's my favorite fruit out of all the trees in the bush. So what we're going to do just now is going to be quite exciting. We are going to take the view of an eagle. Are you ready to see what a bird sees? I hope you are, because this is going to be very, very exciting. You can actually see the drone is above us now. Can you see it flying around? Look at that. Past the big clouds. Right, now in a moment you should be able to see us all the way down on the ground. Eggsy, you have to wave. Eggsy and I are waving. You can see the big tree, we're standing on the other side. Isn't that amazing? So now you can see all the big trees that the elephants haven't pushed over yet, but they still could be pushed over by them in the up and coming season. And if you were to go very, very, very high, you would actually be able to see all the pathways that the animals have made and are using to walk around on. So they don't just use the roads that we use, they also have their own pathways that they use every single day. And when we're out walking, they make for great pathways to follow because there's not lots of thorns and obstructions and fallen trees over them. So it's really nice. Isn't this cool? How you can now pretend that you're an eagle. Oh, look, we're waving again. Waving to everybody who's watching. Hello, hello, hello. That is an amazing piece of equipment. Eggsy's a little bit wobbly today because he's got a tall antenna sticking out of his back. Amazing how this drone is able to follow us like this. We have to be careful of the trees though. I don't know how good Connor's flying skills are to be able to dash in between the trees. And finally we have moved to some wonderful shades. So not only does the marula tree provide fruit and food like the leaves and the bark and the roots of the tree that the animals can feed on, but this is probably one of the more important things, is that it provides shade. Look, we've got 3 marula trees in front of us, and look how much shade there is. I'm standing a couple of feet away from that tree and I'm still hidden from the sun. And that's also very important. Leopards like to sleep up in the tops of these trees. Lions will be laying down here on the ground trying to keep nice and cool on a hot day like today. And even some antelope, maybe a buffalo or 2 resting and rechewing their food, because they'd have to do that because they've got 4 stomachs, and 4 chambers in their stomachs rather. So it's important to have big trees around, and it's good to know that the elephants haven't pushed them all down yet, but you'll see lots and lots of elephants pushing trees down. Speaking of cats that like to sleep under the shade of marula trees, let's go across to Evia, who's got some lions for you.
Good afternoon folks, I'm FW, and with me I've got Davy on camera, and we have found the big cats we were planning on finding for this afternoon. Nice Nkuhuma Pride. We've got visual of 2 of the females. Some of the cubs are in very thick bush at the moment, trying to stay out of the heat. The females are luckily heads up and scanning around, looking at a couple of things around us. I think more so using the breeze to cool down a little bit. Keegan, you are asking if I've ever been hurt by an animal before. I actually got hurt today. I got stung by a bee. I went for a swim this afternoon to try and lift the heat, and as I got out the pool I got stung under my arm.
So yeah, I have been hurt by a couple of different ones. Scorpions as well before, but mostly bees. Luckily nothing big, scary and hairy that could have done a lot of damage, and luckily I'm not allergic to bees. Yeah, hopefully it'll stay that way for a long time. Hopefully I'll get through my entire guiding career without getting into any big trouble with any of the hairy and scary ones. Anna, you are asking if we're going to see any of the prey animals that the lions would prey on in our area. Hopefully we will. As we move around during the drive, we will hopefully bump into some of the prey animals, some of the herbivores, something like impala, a waterbuck, maybe a buffalo. So yeah, we've got time. We'll explore and see if we can get lucky. Yeah, deal. You would like to know who hunts the food. Now, a lot of people think it's only the lionesses that hunt, but males do hunt. Males sometimes hunt on their own if they're nomads or moving around, patrolling their territory, and there are no females around. Then they will have to look after themselves. So yeah, definitely both of the sexes do the hunting. Often it's only the females that do. Often it's only the females that do hunt because the males are patrolling their territory. But while we keep looking at these guys and see what they're up to, we're going to head over to Brent on Cheetah Plains, see what he's got there for you.
Now, this leopard we found this morning is really far into our traverse area, so I still haven't even got to the last spot we saw him. So I'm going a little bit quicker than what I normally would. Now, he's a young male, he's about just under 14 months old, so his mom has left him in that area while she goes off to try find some dinner. So there's a really good chance he still should be in that area. But before we get there, I want to take a quick swing past a waterhole, see if maybe, hopefully, some elephants have returned. I haven't seen elephants in a while. They've all spread out after the rain. So, fingers crossed. Whoa, big pump. Okay. We're approaching the waterhole now. No sign of any elephants. Well, it's all quiet here at the waterhole. There we go, nothing happening. Now, Peyton, hello Peyton. Peyton is wondering what leopards eat. Well, Peyton, they eat small to medium-sized antelope. So anything from about, or they'll eat anything from about the size of a hare or a rabbit, all the way through to something bigger than what a white-tailed deer is from a size point of view for you in the States. But they are great survivors. They'll even eat insects, birds, but all of what they eat is meat. Okay, so nothing happening at the waterhole. So we'll carry on. Not even a sign of fresh elephant tracks. Now, it's been so hot today that when I was here this morning, there was water in here. and it's dried up. Looks like there's been a warthog wallowing in it, so he's had a mud bath. That could have helped with the water disappear. Hello, Nicholas. Nicholas would like to know why it's so hot. Well, Nicholas, because we live in a hot part of the world. It's about 95 degrees Fahrenheit today, which is a pretty average hot summer's day out here. We can go up as hot as 110 from time to time, but it's not too bad today. There's a little bit of a breeze keeping us cool. We've got lots of sun cream on. Oh, and there's Ephraim. Let's see what he is looking at, and he's doing the same thing as me. Looking for the leopards. Oh no, it's Michael, not Ephraim. So I'm going to have a quick chat with Michael. Hello, Michael. How are you doing? Have you gone that side yet?
No.
I'm going to go have a look. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You drove past after the end of the morning.
Yeah.
She was still...
Same spot under the shade. Perfect! Let's go find a leopard. Yay! Good luck to you too, sir. Okay, let's go have a look if we can find this leopard again. I'm heading back towards where he was, and very close to where we found him early this morning. Hello, Dominique! Dominique would like to know, what's it like to be out in the wild with animals? Is it fun? Indeed it is, Dominique, and I love it. It's lots of fun following the animals as they do their thing out here. And not only is it fun, but you get to learn at the same time. So you get to learn lots about the animals and lots about the plants and the flowers and the bugs and the snakes and the lizards and everything. So yes, I think it's lots of fun, Dominique. Okay, getting into that area. So if I can't find him with the car, I'll go walk and see if I can find him on foot. Just want to make sure we don't see his footprints in this area. So I hope all of you guys are my leopard luck this afternoon. So while we look for the second biggest cat in Africa, let's go back to the biggest with Ifya.
Welcome back. We had one lioness move a little bit from where they were laying down, and she has stopped us from moving. She's pinned us down. She's right next to our vehicle. So we are being a little bit more quiet and trying to move as little as possible. Look how close that is. You could almost touch it if you wanted to. That would have been a very bad move, but if you're really brave, you can be my guest. So yeah, we'll have to sit here for a little bit and not move much. Noah, you are asking if the lions ever chased the jeeps. Young lions have chased me around before. I don't know if they look at the back lights, especially at night when you're moving away from them, and they see the back lights. Here's another lioness coming in. Oh, I hope they don't sit all around us. Maybe they're looking for the vehicle's shade. But yeah, no, little cubs or bigger cubs find interest in everything. They try and investigate everything, and they do every now and then just run after the vehicle. but with no intention to harm anyone. It's just playfulness. I think we're gonna be here for a while. Thankfully she's moving off. Hopefully the other one follows her and we can move around and try and show you some of the other lions that's in the area. They're scattered all over the place, with everyone trying to find a bit of shade. Linear, you are asking when lions mostly eat. Mostly at night is when they go out and hunt. They see a little bit better, or a lot better than other animals do, and better than we would see at night. So it's their advantage to take and use that advantage to go and hunt, try and get closer to animals. And if they catch something, depending on the size, let's say they catch a big buffalo, they might spend a day or two eating on it. So then they'll eat continuously throughout the time. They'll fill themselves up, go and rest, digest a little bit, and then move on, go back and eat later again. So any time of the day, if they have a kill, they'll eat. But when they get most of their kills, nighttime is a better time for them to utilize that. Vincent, you are asking if I've ever seen lions fight. I've never seen two male lions fight for territory, but I have seen them competing at a kill, and it does get quite intense. There's a lot of slaps being handed around. Look at that cub coming to mum or aunt. Let's see, maybe it might try and get a drink, get some milk from one of the two. Yeah, so I've never seen a full-on fight where it was too serious, just a bit of competition at a meal. Look at those faces together. Another cub is coming out. Michael, you would like to know what type of animals lions would eat. All your medium to bigger sized prey. So that could vary from something like an impala all the way up to a buffalo. And all the ones in between, zebra, wildebeest, kudu, as a couple of examples. Look at that face. Isn't that amazing? We're gonna quickly head over to Brent. He's got a spotted surprise.
Look at this. So we found this young male leopard again, and the best thing about young leopards is they're very playful. And he's got a buddy we can't really see, but just if we look under his paw, he's caught a tortoise. I think you call them turtles in America. And there we go, a tortoise, and you can see his claw out there as he's holding the poor tortoise down. Now it's unlikely that his jaws are going to be strong enough to break the carapace of the tortoise, but it is a good toy for a young leopard, and you will often play with it for a while, keep him entertained while mom's away looking for dinner. But he's falling asleep while he's got the tortoise under his paw. Now, Aubrey would like to know, am I scared around lions or other big animals? I'm not scared, Aubrey. I'm lucky I've grown up in the bush, surrounded by these animals, but I do have a lot of respect for them. So if they tell me they're upset with their body language, I leave them alone, I'll move away. So I'm not scared, I've got lots of respect for them though. Now, Amri wants to know, do the animals ever get aggressive? Amri, sometimes, but generally they get aggressive with each other, not with us. And animals, like people, will tell you when they're upset, and when they're upset, we stay away. And they tell us via their body language. So if his ears were flat and his tail was swishing from side to side, it would tell me he was an angry leopard and I shouldn't go too close. I should probably leave him alone. But his body language is telling me he's a very relaxed leopard, so it's fine to sit and watch him. Hi, Jalen. Jalen would like to know, how long do leopards live? Well, Jalen, if you're a male leopard, you're very old if you get to 14 years old. That's about the top sort of age for a male leopard. Female leopards will live a little bit longer, up to around 16, but 16 is a very old leopard. Normally male leopards 12 to 13, females 14 to 16. Now, is he sleeping on top of the door? No, he's not quite. He might be. Little troublemaker. That's the wonderful thing about following leopards of this age. You could almost call them teenage leopards. They're always off and after things. Deshaun would like to know, is the leopard going to eat the turtle? I think that turtle is too well protected for a young leopard. His jaws aren't quite strong enough. But if he manages to grab hold of its head or any of its legs, if they pop him out, it will definitely grab and eat what it can. So we're going to sit here, see what he does next with the turtle. While we do that, let's go see. Oh, look, he's going to sleep on top of the turtle while he snoozes. Let's go to Tayla, who's got a bird in a nest.
So you won't believe what happened this morning. I was driving around looking for lions, and we came around the corner and I looked on the ground and I noticed an eggshell, but we'll show you that in a moment. And I couldn't work out where the nest was. And now that we're walking around and going a little bit slower than what you would go when you're driving in the cars, we looked up to the top of this tree and we found an African green pigeon sitting on its nest. Now, these eggs must have just hatched probably last night or late in the afternoon yesterday, because when I saw them in the morning, the shells were still quite intact. But come and have a look what I've got to show you now. So here I was driving around looking, and I went, eggshells, and I saw one. And then it wasn't squashed like this though. This is now after a car has come through and driven over it. But don't worry, the babies are inside the nest. There was just a small hole, and I couldn't work out where they are. So there must be two chicks, because there's another eggshell over here. Look at this. Another one. So only two eggshells, which must mean that they have two little babies inside that nest. And now that is quite common for these birds to have two eggs, and it takes them about 2 weeks before those eggs will hatch. And tiny little baby chicks will come out with no feathers on their bodies, their eyes closed, and they have to rely completely on their mom to keep them warm, to feed them. And I reckon in the next few days you have to keep watching. Hopefully we're going to see them start to grow and develop their feathers. And then after another 2 weeks, they'll be big and strong enough. They'll be flapping their wings and getting ready to leave the nest. But let's see what Herbie's got. He's just pointed out something to us. Now, I hope you're wondering, how tall are those trees? They're quite big. A marula tree, remember, these are the same marula trees that we saw earlier, and they can get to 22 meters tall. I'm not sure what the conversion is in feet. I'm terrible. But I've got something else. Now I need to find it. Eggsy, can you see right here? Look at that. Can you see that tiny little lizard? It actually looks like it's probably a very, very young skink. It's got a bright orange tail. Isn't that amazing? I don't know how Herbert... I'm going to just turn it again. Oh! And off it jumped, just like that. It had had enough of us, and it decided it was going to see if it was a bird and see if it could fly. But it couldn't fly, but it was almost like a cat, like it had 9 lives, because it landed straight onto its feet. So it'll be all right. I'm not worried about it. And it's got very good camouflage at that young age, that it is able, of course, to hide under any piece of branch or bark, or even just on the sand. It'll be okay. But now I've got something else to show you. Look what is in my hand. Oh no, the wind is blowing. Come back here. Okay, we'll get that one now. Now I have a question for all of you. What animal, we'll call it an animal, do you think these claws belong to? You're going to have to ask your teacher to send through your answers, and I'll be waiting to hear. So what do you think? Who do you think these pincers belong to? And while you guess, I'm going to pick up the thing that I dropped. Here we go. Look at this. Now this was a butterfly. I found it had died, and something has eaten its head. So I'm not sure what happened there, but it doesn't have a head anymore. But this is a butterfly called an African migrant, and we're so lucky to actually have found one that was perfectly intact, except it was just missing its head. Now it hasn't got too many colors. Look at that beautiful sort of sheen, a little bit green. It almost looks like a pearl, don't you think, that you find in an oyster? I think it is so beautiful. Have you got any questions yet? Who's crawling on my leg? There's a little bee or a fly of some sort crawling on my leg. Have you got any answers yet for who these pincers belong to? Look at all those little hairs. Oh, so I believe all the children who are watching from Glenwood Elementary, you have guessed either a crab or a scorpion. Now, it could definitely be a crab, because even though we're not near an ocean, you get freshwater crabs and we occasionally see them in the mud wallows. But your second guess was correct. It is indeed a scorpion. Now, this, you have to have a look here, down here again. Unfortunately, I may have broken the pincers. Scorpion wouldn't have been a very venomous scorpion. So when I say venomous, it has a sting on the end of its tail. And the sting, if it penetrates through your skin, if it stings you, that venom, that toxin will go into your blood, and it can sometimes make you sick. But luckily, this one was not a venomous one. So this one used to use its big claws, its big pincers, to actually run after and catch maybe millipedes or any other little insects, maybe even a little lizard like we just saw, something like that. Now, what do you think has eaten this? Because there's a lot of things out here that would eat a scorpion, from birds. But where I found it was underneath a piece of wood, fallen tree and a bit of bark. So I think that an animal called a honey badger, which is the most ferocious animal in the African bush, it even makes lions put its tail between its legs and run for cover. Can you believe it? So it almost looks like a very, very angry skunk. But I would say a Tasmanian devil crossed with a skunk. And I think that that honey badger was out foraging underneath all the wood, underneath the bark. And, well, scorpions are one of their favorite things to eat. But The pincers aren't very tasty, and normally they'll sometimes even leave the sting behind, but the rest of it is lovely and nutritious. Bye-bye. Now, I believe that all of you who are watching from White Oaks Elementary, you are wondering if there are lots of scorpions around. Yes, there are, but you have to look for them. Remember, they're quite small. They're not big and strong like a lion or a leopard or a hyena. They've got a high way because there are lots of different things that are going to try and eat them. So, if you want to find a scorpion, the best time is to actually look at night time because they are nocturnal. So, if you remember from watching yesterday, nocturnal means that they are nighttime creatures. They don't like to come out during the day. But if you go and look, you remember that big marula tree we just had a look at? If you look underneath all the bits of bark and things like that, you'll probably find one trying to keep away from the sun. So yes, you've just got to look hard enough, and we're going to keep looking for a scorpion. But hopefully the next time you come back to us, I'll have a scorpion that's alive and wriggling around. But we're going to go back across to those lions who used to be using the shade of Evya's vehicle.
Alright, we had a bit of movement. There's a female that's in this thicket, just to the right of the other lionesses and the two cubs that are sleeping. She stood up and moved a bit. I think she's going to move away from where she's standing at the moment, so for a minute or two she's going to come. Oh, there she's coming. Come a little bit more. Keep coming. There we go. Slowly but surely. Matthew, you would like to know if there's only one male lion in the Pride. At the moment there is no male with them, but the group of males that the territory that we are in at the moment is a group of 4, if I'm not mistaken, and they are called the Birmingham males. Look at this one having a little bit of a drink, trying to get some milk. Awesome. With regards to males, their group sizes differ. You do get solitary males that run territories that are the dominant males, but they've got much more success when they're in groups, in coalitions of maybe 2 to 4 males, 5 males. That just helps them fight off any intruders or anyone that wants to challenge them and take over the territory that they hold. It's very important for them to hold their territory for as long as they can. It is very important for them to hold their territory as long as they can to get these cubs a chance to grow up and reach some form of maturity before they get kicked out. White Oaks Elementary, you would like to know how long lions sleep for. They can sleep up to 18 hours out of a day. That is a serious amount of sleeping. I wouldn't mind sleeping 18 hours a day. Darby, what do you think?
Oh, sounds good.
That'll be fun. Won't get much done, but it'll be great. As long as it's nice and cool. Liam, you would like to know why lions like the shade so much. I think it's purely just to stay cool. They want to stay cool. They don't want to use any energy, have the sun draining them from any energy, and it's just more comfortable. It's in the shade. It's same if you're on your summer break or something and it's a hot day out there, you don't want to spend too much time in the sun. You would rather hide yourself in the shade and protect yourself from the sun. white oaks. You would like to know how long the cubs would stay with their mother. Female cubs would stay, or most likely stay, their entire lives. They'll stay in the pride, and they keep the pride growing and moving forward into the future with breeding and so on. Males get kicked out. So males at around 2.5 years to 3 years, their fathers, the dominant males, push them out. And that is a very good way of getting their own genetics spread further into these wilderness areas. So these guys will become nomads for a while. They'll spend time on their own, moving around, hiding from other males, and try and avoid being cornered by any of the dominant males of other areas until they are one day strong enough to challenge one and maybe push him or the group out. They'll often find other males that were pushed out as well, and they'll form coalitions and work together to survive. Before we say goodbye, I just want to show you an interesting beetle. Look at how tiny this beetle is. It's called a longhorn beetle. Just look at that amazing coloring and the spots on the body. To all the kids that joined us today, it has been lovely having you with us. We hope you have a lovely day going forward. We are going to head over to Brent and see what he's up to.
Well, we are busy witnessing the world's slowest getaway as the tortoise crawls from young Vutomi's grasp. But as I said, not very quickly. It is definitely the world's slowest getaway. But it seems like this young male leopard has lost interest in the speaks-hinged tortoise. It looks like he's about to go to sleep again. Isn't that beautiful? We're looking through some gnarled red bush willow roots well, there were some peering eyes, but now they're very heavy eyes. His head grows lower. Now he's gone completely flat. Will the tortoise take its chance? Oh, I see a bit of head movement from the tortoise. Is he going to escape? Let's try and move a little bit to get a different view. How's that for him? Can you get the tortoise there? There we go. We can see it making his not so fast dash to freedom. So what's probably happened here is that tortoise has got itself underneath that bush willow branch, and it is feeling a lot safer there than exposed. And we did see that young leopard use the tortoise as a pillow a little earlier. Of course, quite well protected. So there he is. He's breathing quite heavily as well. But wouldn't you be if you were being used as a toy? Poor tortoises, they do come across these situations far more often than they would like. As I said, fortunately, at his age, I don't think he's got the bite force to crack open that tortoise's carapace. Can't see any wounds. Now, it's unbelievable how deep they are able to tuck themselves in. There he is. Just keeping a careful eye on the tortoise. And there's a carrion fly on the stalk of grass there as well. You can see that red head, often associated with carcasses, but there might be some leopard scat around that would also attract that particular fly species. It's the one fly you really don't want to land on you, because it's either been on a predator dung or inside a rotting corpse. Oh, there's more than one, so there's definitely dung around. Then you've got 2 carrion flies around. Is the tortoise having a snack? I thought he might stop for... Oh no, it's just the wind blowing the grass towards him. I was about to say, a very relaxed tortoise in that situation if he stopped to snack on a piece of grass. And we can see there's a little bit of love grass in front of him. Oh, there we go. There we go. He's making his dash as I get the world's slowest getaway ever. Well, Susie says, "Go, little tortoise, go." Yes, Susie, he's just not going very fast. Now, he's hoping that this young leopard has decided that it's not worth pursuing. It's too hot. There's no reward at the end. And the tortoise seems to take 2 steps every 4 minutes. What do you think we should call it, VM? The tortoise 2-step. There we go, you can see breathing quite heavily, showing the heat. Well, Thomas in Pennsylvania says, "The leopard and the tortoise, it sounds like a children's book." Well, Thomas, maybe you should write the book. The leopard and the tortoise. I definitely think it almost sounds like an African folklore. There might even be one if I go do some research. Oh, look how heavily that tortoise is breathing. Oh, there we go. 2-step Tony's taken 2 more steps. And the world's slowest getaway continues. Oh, 2-step, you've caused too much noise, 2-step. You have been spotted. I think 2-step Tony the tortoise needs to work on his getaways. If you keep walking in that direction, 2-step, you are definitely going to be spotted, and he's being watched. But whether the game of play with the tortoise is over for young Vutomi or not, we shall be seen. Oh, 2-steps, definitely living up to his name now. He's hitting it at a rate of knots. Please don't come hide underneath my car, 2-step Tony. Here he goes. Shame. Oh, he's moving now. He is heading straight towards us. Careful, VM, the tortoise is charging. But I think the heat and the lack of reward has left young Vutomi thinking, you know what, Tony, off you go. Now, unfortunately for 2-step Tony, his getaway isn't too far, so if the leopard changes his mind, it's a simple hop and a skip and back into the land of trouble for the poor Speaks hinged tortoise I decided to call Tony. 2-step. Well, imagine what he's going to say to all the other tortoises tonight. You're not going to believe a leopard used me as a pillow. Seems like young Vutomi is more distracted by the stable flies that are nipping at his ears. Now, wow. Captain Awesome, I don't know if I can actually say this out loud because it is... Oof, it's very cheesy. Captain Awesome says, let's celebrate. I can't believe I said that. I'm going to hide my head now. I can't believe I said that on a live feed. Let's celebrate. I'm never saying that again. My goodness. There we go. 2 steps on the move. He's now charging Ephraim from Cheetah Plains. Careful, Mfo. It's coming. It's big danger. Oh, look, and 2-step is even causing Ephraim to move his vehicle. Eph is giving 2-step a chance. Oh, he's trying to get under to Ephraim's car. Off he goes. Come on. And Ephraim's making space for 2-step to make his getaway. Yes. Oh no. So no. The problem is the tortoise is looking at the dark shade under the vehicles and thinking that's a good spot to get away from a leopard. But oh no, he's heading for Mike now. And Mike, unfortunately, is in a position where he can't move. 2-step. That is a terrible place. That is worse than being in a leopard's jaws under a Land Cruiser. Oh, and next to the tire. That is possibly the worst place 2-step Tony could have gone. Oh, we can't see now because it's under the car. Vutomi is far more interested in it. Well, Mike's game drive is going to be here for the rest of the day, it seems. He cannot move while 2-step is hiding under his Land Cruiser. Vutomi has decided 2-step is far more interesting now that he's under the car than under the log. And let's go see what it looks like from the other side. Now, this is one of those amazing things that you can't ever plan, and that's the joy of being live. Remember, if you've just joined us and you're not sure and you want to ask us a question about 2-step Tony and Vutomi the leopard, you can do that by using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or send us an email to questions@WildEarthTV. Now, I have had leopard cubs go under my car before, never to fetch a tortoise though. I was trying to see if I could see the tortoise under Mike's vehicle. Let me wear my binoculars. I can't see where 2-step Tony's gone. Oh, biting flies again. This is one of the reasons, if you get the opportunity, if you find a young male leopard, you must always stick with them. They are always up to shenanigans. Even in the heat, they are at that age, especially at this age, where they're so easily entertained or distracted by all sorts of things. Now, you'll find an adult leopard will just generally completely ignore a tortoise, walk straight past it, unless they're extremely hungry. I'm just trying to see if I can see the tortoise now. I've lost sight of it. Bite, bite. Bite, bite of the biting fly. VM spotted the tortoise. Oh, he's on the move. He might come out from under the car. I'm just trying to see if we can spot him again. Okay, we're going to try reposition to see if we can find the tortoise again. We're going to get back a bit, Vim. A little bit more. Let's go around this way, maybe forward. Let's see. Is that him there? I can't see him under the car at all. Maybe he's a climbing tortoise and he's decided to climb into the undercarriage of Mike's vehicle. While we keep searching for two-stepping Tony the tortoise, let's go see what the lions are up to with FW.
We have still got some very sleepy lions. There's just one cub that's drinking from mum at the moment. We haven't even had a chance to move the vehicle. We've got a lioness right next to us, fast asleep, lights out. So I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon unless she decides to get up and move off. So we've got two cubs that we have visual of at the moment. I don't know if any of the viewers can help me with sexing of the cubs, the 6 cubs. I'm not being in the area too often. I don't know the sexes of the cubs, and it would be lovely if you could give me a hand with that. There's a 3rd cub coming out now, doing a bit of lion yoga, stretching itself out. Andreas, you would like to know if the animals suffer from the heat as much as us humans do. I think they do. Some animals like buffalo or rhino, elephants, they'll cool themselves down with going into mud and throwing themselves with mud in the case of elephants, and the others will just roll around in mud. So that's a way for them to soothe themselves from the heat. Animals like lion and leopard, they'll try and minimize their movement during the heat of the day, do as little as possible, and then when it cools down, move around. Look at this cub greeting this female, saying hello, snarling a bit at the vehicle. The females will allow each other's cubs to suckle from them. So this one that's lying next to the vehicle might have been mum, but just not being able to get to mum. They'll maybe try with another female. Something's got their attention. They've just lifted their heads. I'm just having a look around. What has got them to lift their heads? I don't hear any movement of anything. Let's wait a minute or two and see if they decide to get up. If they get up and start moving, no, flopping down again. Daniel, thank you very much for that information. So it is 1 male cub and 5 female cubs in this group. I think that's very good news for this pride, that the female cubs will just keep growing this pride, and maybe one day they'll end up as a mega pride. Mega prides are prides that have relatively big numbers. There's one in particular in the Kruger Park that's quite well known. They've got some white lions in that group as well. They are on the area is around a road that's called the S100, which is close to the Satara rest camp in the Kruger National Park. I think there are about 30 odd lions in that pride. Shame cub, I would love to have moved to give you a chance to drink from mum there, but we're gonna cause trouble if we do. Folks, while we patiently wait for this lioness to move to give us a chance to move on and go and search for some other stuff, we're going to head over to Tayla with some of the smaller creatures on bushwalk.
Now this is a bizarre scene that we're looking at, and if you're wondering why, it's because when do you ever see a scorpion out during the day, especially one that has decided to climb up on top of this plant? Most of us, or most of the scorpions, sorry, not most of us, are nocturnal, and they only really come out at night to go around and do their business. So the weather has also started to change. The wind is picked up, the clouds are coming over. I wonder if this scorpion perhaps know that there is rain on the way, and that's why it has decided to come out of its burrow, or from on the ground somewhere, maybe under a piece of bark, and decided to climb higher ground. Now, I'm not sure, I can obviously only speculate, but I think that that is really, really interesting. Now, we see the scorpion quite often. This is the Ostipacantha asper species of scorpion. It doesn't really have a common name. I think their common name could be a common natal or something ridiculous like that. But isn't it beautiful and very easy to identify because of its dark body with its almost yellowish legs to it, and not very big, and not a potent sting on the end of it either. But I just found this absolutely fascinating. And look at that view. I mean, this is a view of a scorpion that you don't often get to get. Normally the backdrop is always just sand or a tree, but to have a scorpion and a bit of blue sky in it as well, that's really, really incredible. And I wonder what it's doing up here. Sitting very, very still, blowing, as you can see how the wind is picked up. That is just absolutely amazing. Now, I'm so sad that the children are not watching anymore from the various schools, because they were absolutely dying to see a scorpion. But hopefully they will be able to find another one, maybe tomorrow, to show them if they are joining us for another drive. But it's nice to see a scorpion again, and to also just to find one out in the open. I mean, you know, we typically go and we turn over fallen trees, the bits of bark that are dangling off it, and we have a look underneath there. But that was such a surprise to find one just sitting on the stalk of this plant. Now, I'm sure the scorpions, though, must be quite full at the moment because of all the insects and things that are roaming around. There's definitely no shortage of millipedes at the moment. We've been finding a lot of the entrances of the scorpion's burrows. There's lots and lots of the exoskeletons of the millipedes hanging around outside there. But I don't know if you know this. If there isn't really any food source around, a scorpion can go without food for about a year. How amazing is that? So I'm sure that they eat as much as they can in the rainy seasons to try and save up fat reserves. And well then, when there is a lack of insects during the harsher conditions, the drier months, it's not that they're going to be suffering. They're able to continue life like they normally would. Isn't that just amazing? Right, let's see what else we can find though. Let's see what's down on the ground here. Maybe a spider or two. Now, Scram, you're wondering if you've ever been stung by a scorpion before. I haven't, and well, I'm not looking forward to the day that I do, because that day I think is going to be inevitable, and one day I'll put my hand on something or sit down on something, or something like what happened to Jamie the other day where the scorpion fell out of the roof. That's definitely a possibility as well. Now, I saw a moth flying around. I've just got to see where it landed. It was, and I'm thinking, a moth? Tayla, don't you mean a butterfly? But no, we get diurnal moths as well. And it looked like a speckled footman perhaps, but it is now, I've got it. Igzy, we've got to be very careful because it is very, very shy. So you can see just in there, can you see that little yellow thing? I don't get too close, but it's in there. Have you got it? Now that's one of the little diurnal moths, and I'm just trying to have a look at the back of it, but I don't want to scare it too much. It's one of the footmen. I'm not sure which one, but it doesn't look like the speckled footman. I'm going to see if I can get a better view on the other side. No, it's one of them, but it will remain a mystery as there are so many different things out and about. And the reason why I know that it's not a butterfly is just that its overall shape looks very moth-like, and then of course it's sitting with its wings flat rather than sort of closed together upon its back like the butterflies do. Hello, little thing. Isn't that amazing? And I just find it incredible every time I go out on a bushwalk what you can find when you just turn over a piece of bark. I'm going to have a look underneath here. Let's see what's under here. Nothing, just a couple of bits of grass growing. And you've also got to be careful because this is an opportunity to get stung by a scorpion. So if you don't pick them up very carefully, you could be in a bit of trouble. Oh, there's a helicopter flying overhead, very low. Probably, of course, doing an anti-poaching patrol, maybe from the Kruger National Park. It looks like a sand park helicopter. Yellow and green. So off it goes to do a patrol, and it's very important to do the aerial patrols as well. It's quite difficult though, now in the summer months when the bush is so thick. Now, speaking of poaching, Riley, you were wondering this afternoon if this area in South Africa has a problem with illegal poaching, and unfortunately it does. So with the high density of rhino species, well, the black and white rhino that we have down in South Africa, and of course we've got pangolin, which is actually the #1 most poached mammal in the world, is the pangolin. And so yes, we do get a lot of people coming through. There's still a lot of people hunting elephants or poaching elephants for their ivory, but that normally happens more in the northern regions of Africa. But we are on it, and especially in this area, they're really, really good. They've employed the most incredibly talented people. We've got anti-poaching dogs. You saw the helicopter, people driving around in vehicles, rangers on foot walking around 24/7, spending days in the bush. So you never, you've got to be really, really clever to try and get past some of these people. And most of the time when there is an incident, the people are being caught, which is fantastic. I know the number of arrests in the last couple of years has skyrocketed, so that's really good that they've managed to weed out all the corruption and try and get a close-knit group of people who are really in it for the right reasons, and the conservation, preservation of the wildlife, and of course not just the animals but of course the flora as well. So that's really important. Now we're going to carry on taking a stroll. I'm probably going to have a couple of sips of water as it feels as though I've got a leather flip-flop in my mouth at the moment. It's very warm out here. So I'm going to send you all the way across to Cheetah Plains to see how that wonderful leopard is doing.
Well, we're still sitting with young Vutomi. Tony Two-Step successfully made his escape, and the wind is suddenly picked up. So you can see it's still quite warm even though the wind's picked up. He's popped himself in a lovely bit of shade while he awaits his mother's return. Oh, Tony, don't get spotted again. Oh, he's a very, very good looking little boy. He's got a little nick on his nose, nothing serious though. And remember, his spot pattern from this morning is a 3-4. There he is, trying to bite offending flies. He might go for a drink. This is why, if you've got the opportunity, young male leopards, you stick with them. They're always up to stuff. Not always, as we found out yesterday after spending hours with very flat cats. But it is always worth taking that chance, spending the time, playing the patience game. Well done, Annabelle. Annabelle says whenever she finds a cat, she will donate $10 to Panthera. Now, I've got to do a bit of Panthera work just now. It's not going to be pleasant, Annabelle, but I will do it as well. Can we see it from here, Vim? I think we might be able to. There's a very large dropping for such a small cat that I need to go collect a sample of so we can send it to Panthera. It's somewhere around there. I think it's behind the tree. But yes, I will be collecting some leopard scat for that Panthera project. For those of you who are not sure about it or don't know about it, so we collect scat for genetics on the leopards. There's two different reasons. There's a research project going on to figure out the genetic parentage of the male leopards in the area. So of course it's very easy to tell who mom is, but it's near impossible to tell who dad is without genetics. And I know a lot of people think they can tell who the dad is by the shape of their face or their spots or whatnot, but apparently, according to the Panthera scientists, that is almost always incorrect, because female leopards will mate with so many different male leopards before they have cubs to try convince all the males in the area that they are the father. The only way to really tell who the daddy is by genetics. Now, that is a small side project. The main project for the Panthera... Oh, he's going to walk out the open again. The main project is to do with the to skin a cat program. Now, there's a church in KwaZulu-Natal called the Shembe Church, where they traditionally wear leopard skins all over them, and unfortunately a lot of leopards have ended up being used in the skin trade. So the genetics is to find out where these leopards are coming from, to try identify where the problem areas from a conservation point of view are. And out of, I think it was about 10,000 skins tested that were from the Shembe Church, I think it was, there were at least 8 or 9 different leopards that had genetic markers which proved them to be relative to leopards from the Sabi Sands. And unfortunately, the vast majority comes from a part of the world where I actually spent quite a bit of time and saw a few leopards. So the area that's been heavily hit by the skin trade for leopard skins is northern Mozambique and southern Tanzania. And the program is busy replacing real leopard skins with synthetic leopard skins. Which gap? That one. Oh, back a tiny bit. Oh no. I'll hold the branch. How's that? Now I'll keep the branch out of the way so you can see him nicely. So that's Panthera, incredible organization. Now, I was lucky enough as a child to spend quite a lot of time with the now head of Panthera, Dr. Luke Hunter. He was doing cheetah research on the reserve Pinda that my dad is one of the founders of. Such a beautiful male leopard. You can see the white under the eyes there to try catch any ambient light when he's out in the dark hours. Doing a little bit of preening. Now I really hope his mom comes back. That fly. Now, I know a lot of you, and Liz included, would love to get hold of that Panthera documentation and share their findings. The findings will become public, but for those of you who have not been involved in the scientific community before, it has to go through a long, lengthy process before that information can be made public. Some of that information is now sitting with peer review, so a bunch of professors, etc., will have to go through it, see if they think the science is valid, the genetics is correct, and this is a very long, lengthy process. But as soon as it is available, they will make that information public, and trust me, we will be some of the first people to receive it. Hello, Lucy. Lucy would like to know, how do leopards know who not to mate with, or is incest not a big problem? Well, Lucy, the way leopards make sure that they don't get too much incest, because incest in wild cats does happen. In most cases, they can sort of inbreed for a couple of generations, up to sort of 4 or 5, before there are any real big genetic defects that are visible. Now, the dispersal of males is how they ensure that. So as soon as a young male gets to that 2.5 years old, his father will no longer, or the dominant male in the area, will no longer tolerate him around near the mother or in wherever they find him, and they will chase and attack him. And then often that can cause the leopards to move up many kilometers away from their natal home ranges, the natal home range being where they were born. And so by the time they're big enough, at about 5 or 6 years old, to challenge a male for his territory and start mating, they are often far away from their natal home range. This is not obviously always the true, but I know from one Panthera project, they darted some dispersal males in Zululand on Pinda. One male made it all the way to Kruger. It's over 400 kilometers that male dispersed. Oh, he's having a war with the flies. What's he up to now? Silly, that's in the sun. Very pretty there. Oh, beautiful light as he turns around. I hope you guys are getting some screenshots. Remember, share them with us. Hashtag Safari Live or on Twitter, or pop them on our Facebook page, which is Safari Live, or on many of the wonderful groups that you guys have started on Facebook. He's slowly making his way towards the pan where we found him this morning, so maybe he might head for a little afternoon drink. I got a feeling he's going to lie down a couple of times before he gets there. There we go, on cue. We're going to keep sitting with young Vutomi. While we do that, let's go see what Efe is up to back on Djuma.
Welcome back. We are on one of the boundary roads heading up to Sydney's dam. There was reports of wild dogs approaching our area, so we're really keeping our fingers crossed. We're gonna go take a chance, take a look. It's been a very hot day, so I don't think they would have moved much, but you never know. It's gonna still take us a while to get to the dam and see if they come through for a drink. Maybe there's some prey species there, impala or something, that might get their attention when they start moving. So yeah, other than that, we haven't seen much after the lions. We'll keep moving, keep looking around, scanning the area, see what else wants to pop out. Maybe we bump into some elephant on the way, who knows. Jimmy in Texas, you would like to know what my favorite animal is. I don't have a specific favorite. I enjoy a couple of different species, maybe a little bit more, but I can't say that one stands out as a favorite. I really enjoy black rhino. The big cats are always entertaining to watch and spend time with. So yeah, I would say those three probably stand out as the top ones. But every time you're out in the bush and you spend some time, you have memorable sightings with various different ones. A couple of days ago, oh no, it was yesterday morning, we had an amazing encounter with impala. That will stay in the memory bank for a long time. Two females pushing each other around at first, and then the female going over to one of the younger ones and pushing that around. And there's many other examples of that. There is a bit of corrugations on the road. It is one of the main roads in the area and it's utilized a bit more. So unfortunately there's nothing we can do for the moment. So just bear with us as we bounce around a little bit. I'm going to speed up a little bit, see if we can minimize the bouncing. Folks, while I get into a little bit of a better area with the road, we're going to head over to Tayla for an update on the bushwalk.
Searching far and wide for all sorts of things to find you, but everything just keeps evading us at the moment, so you'll have to come on a little bit of a walk as Herbie leads us through a safe path. Now, when you're walking in the bush, Eggsy, you have to watch out for this tree. Eggsy's got a big antenna coming out of his head, so we'll go a slightly different route. You're right there. Oh, he's just got to tilt his body. So it's always good to try and find a nice clear route that you can sort of see on the ground. Make sure you're not walking through any leaf litter, because at this time of the year you wouldn't want to stand on a puff adder and they'd be very much camouflage. But we're turning over a couple of logs. What do you have, Herbie? Can you see a spider? Oh, okay, there it is. Come have a look here, Eggsy. Might see a kill. There's a little cricket over there. Can you see the cricket? Just on this bit of bark. Can you see it there? Now, there's actually a spider hidden in over here. Come on. You can coax it out. Look at this. Look, 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 look. Can you see that big spider sitting there? Now, I don't know what type of spider this is. It looks like it could be a young velvet spider, just because of how sort of robust the body is and the big sort of rear end on it. It could turn into a velvet spider. It's a little bit small to tell at the moment, but something like this would have caught that cricket if it had come too close. You can actually see it looked like it was starting to burrow down just in this little hole here. And a lot of these spiders, the velvet spiders, and of course the wolf spiders and things, they don't really make webs. They just sort of make burrows into the ground, and they'll actively hunt rather than trying to trap their prey. And then look who else we've got crawling around. The tiniest little millipede you ever did see. You better be careful. There's lots of spiders, and we just saw a scorpion too, little millipede. Now, millipedes are incredible little creatures. I'm a huge fan of them. And it's something that we actually haven't I don't know, maybe the other guides have spoken about it, but I always seem to forget it for some reason. And when a millipede is born, it's only born with 2 pairs of legs on its segment. So it hatches from an egg, and it basically is a little replica of the adult. So it looks very much like what you just saw. And then after its first molt, it gets another segment and another 2 pairs of legs. So a millipede might not even have 1,000 legs like the name suggests. So they reckon that the millipede with the most legs that has ever been found only had 750 legs. Can you believe that? Nowhere near 1,000, quite far off the 1,000 mark. The sort of average amount of legs that a millipede will have is anywhere between 250 and about 500. So even though the name suggests that it's got 1,000 feet, it doesn't necessarily have to. But Eggsy, are you ready to climb over this log? Eggsy said he's going to try his best. We'll do one big loop over.